Jordan Belfort, aka the Wolf of Wall Street, is someone who knows how to make money. At the peak of his stockbroker business, he was making up to $50 million per year, buying Ferraris with his bonus checks, and today he charges up to $70,000 for a single speaking engagement. Now, luckily for us, after a recent interview with Yahoo, he was asked some very useful questions on crypto, which we'll be covering in this video. And luckily for us, without having to spend $70,000 to hear him speak. So we'll find out, can crypto still be banned, or is it now too late? How do we avoid the minefield of fraud and rug pulls? How do we almost guarantee to make money in crypto? And then we'll finish with his top 3 picks for everyday investors and a bonus on how to make the massive money in crypto. As always, if you do enjoy anything in the video, then drop a like, always appreciated. Okay, first up, for a long time the narrative was that policymakers would ban crypto and it would soon all be over. So is this still a legitimate threat, or is crypto here to stay?
At the time that I really hated crypto, I stand by everything I said about crypto in 2017, except for one thing. I was wrong about Bitcoin going to zero, but I didn't look closely enough because I just said, it's a scam, because it just seemed like that because it had all the earmarkings of that. And what turned me was slowly but surely, number one, when it crashed, and it went down to $3,000. Like, it was still like a multi-billion-dollar market. I'm like, wait a second. When things crash, they go like Luna, Terra. With that's what happens. They're supposed to go the way of UST. That was the first thing that made me start looking closely at it. Then a good friend of mine, a guy named Robert Beadles, a very, early crypto adopter, gave me a very different view on Bitcoin. And that was digital gold. And I know a lot about how regulation works, especially in the United States. My original thesis was sovereign risk, that the US will just say no more, like China did. And that was the real thing that was driving me to be really bearish on Bitcoin. So once I saw it making enough inroads, I'm like, there's just no way. There are certain US senators that were getting behind it. There was just too much into the mainstream institutions. I said, that risk is pretty much over. They'll regulate, they'll tax it, but I think that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
And so once Bitcoin did not crash to zero, several US senators began getting behind it, corporations began buying, sovereign nations began buying. It seems banning crypto is no longer a threat, and what's most likely is that it'll be regulated and taxed, both of which are actually great for crypto. Next up, coming from the world of the stock market, Jordan is very familiar with the tricks of the trade. And this includes how the big institutions continually take money from the smaller investor. But he says this is nothing compared to what is going on in crypto.
There is so much fraud right now in the blockchain world. It's nonsense. It's like, for every deal, there's 1,000 bad ones, and there's some great ones too. But there needs regulation. There's massive fraud in the stock market all the time. It just is. There's massive fraud. There's fraud in trading. There's fraud on NASDAQ. There's fraud on the New York Stock Exchange. There's insider trading, self-dealing, front-running, all the order flow. But compared to the crypto world, it's a gem stock market. You'd be deluding yourself to think there's no fraud in the stock market. There is, but it's palatable. It's enough that the average person who at least has some knowledge can get a decently, not the most fair shake, but a decently fair shake. In the crypto world, people get slaughtered. They're getting absolutely slaughtered on a daily basis because there's just like this. How could you have no regulation in such a huge market? It's weird. It's like, you can go out and raise money and have no disclosure. Every time there's a situation where there's no disclosure, it always ends bad. It's not even crypto's the problem. It's the crypto's not the problem. It's just human beings are the problem. we need to be regulated because if every single time it's not, it ends badly.
So, coming from an insider, he says there is massive fraud going on in the stock market. Insider trading, self-dealing, front-running, but it's still nothing compared to what's happening in crypto. He says people are getting slaughtered. New projects can raise millions of dollars, promising 50x returns with no disclosure whatsoever, many of which end up going to nothing, but people's money has still moved into new hands. He says humans need regulation. And the fact that crypto is now a $1 trillion market and it's still not regulated is getting ridiculous. Okay, next up, how does the average person virtually guarantee to make money in crypto and avoid all the scams, all the pitfalls, and selling in crashes?
Issue right now is you have to look at Bitcoin and not take a 12-month or 24-month horizon. I think if you get with reasonable luck, I think if you take a 24-month horizon, you'll almost certainly make money. Maybe not, but I think if you take a 3, 4, 5-year horizon, I would be shocked if you didn't make money because the underlying fundamentals, I believe, are really strong. And I just think it's a matter of time that, where enough of it gets into the right hands, there's a limited supply. And as inflation does keep going and going and going, at some point in time, there'll be enough maturity with Bitcoin where it starts to trade more like a store of value and less like a growth stock.
Yeah. And so what keeps coming up again and again and again is the investor time frame. And he says if you're trying to make money within 1 year, it's very risky, many people lose money, and just ask anyone who got started in crypto at the beginning of 2022. He says you need at least a 2-year time horizon, and if it's 3, 4, 5, this is how you virtually guarantee to make money in crypto. And again, this was the same message from Michael Saylor last week, Cathie Wood, who works from a 5-year time horizon, and Warren Buffett, who says you need at least 10 years. They all advise investors lengthen their time frame. And so the question is then why don't most people think this way? And it's simply because most people don't want to get rich slowly. We all want to get rich quick, right? Let's be honest. But learning how to handle impatience is a fundamental part of investing. Okay, and to finish up, if Jordan Belfort could only invest in 3 crypto assets, what would they be? And then as a bonus, how do we make the massive gains in crypto, the 50 or 100 or 1000x gains?
Number 1, what do you think?
Bitcoin.
So number 2,
Ethereum.
number 3.
Bitcoin. I can't go past them. I won't go past them because I just don't, I would do it with privately with friends and stuff and speculate, but beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum, I honestly don't feel confident enough with those ultra low cap deals. Wow. You get a hold of one of those things at the right time. You can make just massive money. But on the flip side of that, you're playing in someone else's playground. You're not the house, they're the house, and you're coming in there, and most of the time you're probably going to lose. I don't think there's any amount of research that you can do to protect yourself from these ultra low cap, except getting in really, really early. Because it doesn't matter if it's good management, bad, if they're that low, what's going to end up happening? It's going to take its ride up. And then when it gets to the top, people are going to dump it. And I'm not even saying a rug pull per se, just that they all have the same predictable cycle. They go up, and once they crater, they seldom come back. So you have to get into these things right either the moment they come out and they're publicly trading on the DEX, but better still is before that on either some of the launch platforms or even better on a Series A or a seed round.
So a lot covered in just 10 minutes. So let's wrap this up. Is it still possible for crypto to be banned and disappear? Jordan says nope. Even today, there is massive fraud going on in the stock market, but it's nothing compared to what's happening in crypto. And we need regulation. To virtually guarantee that you make money in crypto, investors need to lengthen their time frame to a minimum of 2 years. But if it's 3, 4, or 5, then this is how you virtually guarantee to make money. His top 3 picks were Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin, as these are the only 2 that he feels completely comfortable with. And to make the massive gains, you can go for these ultra small caps, but the key is to get in really early, ideally in the seed round, but expect it to crash and burn. And remember, the massive returns also come with the massive risk. So there you are, guys. Hope you enjoyed. That was the latest from the Wolf of Wall Street. Let me know what you think below. But for now, just to say, if you did enjoy anything in the video, then drop a like, and a big thank you to everyone who does, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.